How's it going, people? We will get started in like a minute or two or something. Okay, we're getting just about ready to start. I'm looking around at my little workplace here and I'm like, it's just accreted too many objects that I need to get out of the way, but we're not going to spend much time doing that right now. Just, there comes a point in life when you're like, what are all these objects? And it's basically a constant battle. All right, everybody. So what are we doing? Well, in the Sokoban game, we're starting to do the things in development that you do as you add final polish kind of stuff to the game, which don't get too excited about that phrase. It'll still be a little while before that game comes out. But before it comes out, we have to do the things. And one of the things is we want to improve the particle system, because the one that's in there is just like, a not super good one that we've had since the beginning of the development. And, it's just sort of one that I typed in based on ones that we had, right? in earlier games and stuff. And we've never really done a good job with certain aspects of particle systems. Braid had really nice particles in the end aesthetically, but the technical backing for them was very simple. It was just like a bunch of linear fades and stuff. Now, when you want to have like snazzy magic effects and whatever, like we have in this game, one of the things you want to do is to be able to control the color of a particle over time, right? And that's what we've done historically is some very straightforward, simple version of that, where we have like a beginning color and an end color, right? Or, but that, that kind of thing just, it's not very good. You tend to cut through the middle of the color space, especially if you interpolate in RGB. It just produces output that's not that good. Well, we have a modified version in the Sokoban game where there's just 3 colors. And again, that's just not very versatile and not super, you just don't have a lot of control over what happens. And so what we're doing now today is I was like, well, let's just make a general color animation editor, although I put the word animation in my mind sort of in quotes because it's really about any sequence of colors, which could be over time or it could be over space, like making gradients or something, right? And, if we're going to do that for the game, we might as well just make it available to people generally, because I think this is like a basic tool that, because it's missing, a lot of things in UI and whatever just look a lot worse than they otherwise might. Who knows if that's actually a true thesis, but that is the idea. And so the weekend project for now is to do that. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm not sure I explained it too well. Now, that said, I may not be in the mood to crank all weekend on a project this weekend, so we're going to see how it goes. We're going to get some stuff done on it. And if I just don't feel like mega cranking this weekend, then maybe it'll just roll over into next weekend's project or something. So like gradients, well, gradients is if colors change over space, right? And like particle color animation is if color changes over time. But those are both basically the same thing. What you really need in both of those cases is to be able to author just sequences of colors, right? So we're just going to make a little tool for that. Now, is that right? Okay. So we have this example program. What? Oh. Dude, I need to get my hotkeys in this editor, in this console. It's so annoying. Okay, so we have this. And we, in fact, already have this thing, Color Picker, that's a little bit like what we're talking about, in the sense that it draws generally shaded color things, and it's got some different modes. And, like this thing here is basically exactly what we're talking about, right? But there's no ability to edit it or whatever. And so what we're going to do is just, make a new widget where we start cloning code from Color Picker, Except we're going to want to use color picker as well because you know, if you're editing some keyframes for a color animation, you want to be able to pick new colors, right? So yeah, we're just going to probably heavily copy pasta some code from here. Actually, not too much because a lot of it is really not relevant. But anyway, we're just going to go and we're going to see how it goes. There's a lot of things about this that are pretty good, like these little arrow selector things where they get big when you click them and stuff. So who knows? I might actually factor these into submodules or something. We might copy them to begin with, but then factor it. I don't know. Okay, so that's basically the idea. I'm already not super high energy right now. So we're just going to see how it goes. We're just going to do some stuff and see how it goes. All right, so I guess we'll just call this color animation editor, which is a really long name. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. What is, guys, my brain just isn't even working. All right, that's fine. We can add this. Okay. I actually hadn't wanted to start with this whole file, so we're just going to delete the whole file. But let's look through. There's a bunch of stuff in here that we don't necessarily want. Color slider. Ah, yeah, okay, here's the arrow stuff. We're going to copy this. We're just going to start by copying some code. And getting it to compile. Okay. Now, when this draws, dude, I gotta turn off my freaking touchpad. Okay. Now there's a bus outside the window. That's great. So these HSV sliders, etc. Oh, that's got the zoom. The RGB sliders just call color slider. Okay. So maybe we just make color slider work and that'll be fine. So we're going to need states and themes. Every widget here has a state and a theme. Okay. Now there's a frickin' airplane outside. Dude. Can't see what I am doing. Is that a you problem? All right. So well, we need this state and theme. I feel like we'll copy these, but then delete a lot of the items. All right. Color animation editor. Okay. So yeah, just these things don't have anything to do with us for now. We might do circle stuff later. Background, we're going to want a background. We're going to want a button theme eventually, but we can get that back. This has nothing to do with us. Yeah, we're fine. Okay. Cool. Color animation editor state. Dragging in. We might have multiple strips and whatever, so we're just gonna do this. And I don't know how any of that's gonna work. Okay, cool. Now, let's just, we need to load this file. Oh, it's in widgets. Color animation editor. Okay, cool. Now, this probably doesn't compile, right? Okay. So this slider index is not something that we want. Oh, this is actually doing interpolation. later when we can set interpolation type, we would do that here. So you might want to interpolate in RGB, although I'm not sure why, because it always produces terrible results. Or, you could interpolate in another color space like HSV, for example. And yeah. So let's think about for a second how this is going to work, right? So we're iterating over some number of segments. That's how we draw this rectangle on the screen, right? And I think what we really want to do is have this render loop not really compute the colors. It'll just draw the colors because we're going to want those colors to exist and be usable in other ways. Because, for example, we want you to be able to output the colors. Like, we'll have some button where we say, copy this as code or whatever, right? So, I think we'll have a 2-pass thing here. And we could just do it 2 passes in place for now and then just factor it into a function later. Someone's asking, could interpolation with a spline provide better RGB interpolations? It's a separate issue, right? I mean, yeah, you kind of can try to use a spline to force yourself to go through parts of the RGB space that are nicer, right? If you look at what the interpolation would be in another space and then you just map it back to RGB, that's something that you could approximate with a spline. So, like, obviously, yes. But if you talk about how things interpolate, usually what you're talking about if you're applying splines to interpolation is just increasing the smoothness of the interpolation, for example. So probably what we're going to do here initially is just a dumb linear interpolation. But, you might want smooth ease in and ease out on all your dudes, which we might actually have an option for, right? If that's what you mean, then it's not really going to help that much. Like it'll help reduce certain kinds of artifacts, but it won't, because you're generally traveling. Like when you use splines to ease in and ease out of things, what you're doing is you're affecting the speed of interpolation, right? To get a smoother result. And that's not going to change the actual colors that you get out, like the path of colors that you get out. So, yeah, I mean, it's just better. It makes more sense if you want nicer actual colors to come out to do interpolation in a, in a different color space. Because those are pretty well understood. It's better to do that than to try to make up some ad hoc ways of charting your way through RGB. That's just not that great of an idea, I don't think. Yeah, but we will, it is likely in this little bit of project that we will add some interpolation stuff, like spline interpolation stuff. Okay, so we're just going to comment this out. In fact, we're going to be smooth brain and do it all in RGB initially. All right. So we're going to have some array. I don't know. We're going to do like 100. And we're going to have a sampled color is a struct, and for now it's just going to have a RGB color there. Okay. So we've got this thing. Okay. I feel like we're inviting an off by one error here. So okay, this is drawing a vertical rectangle. In my mind, I kind of want this to be a horizontal rectangle, but it is what it is for now. Okay, so oops. So we're just going to be setting these colors here. Part of the reason we broke it into separate components was, I don't know, that's just how we wanted to treat it for this other widget, because all these interpolations would do different things on the different channels. And then we just put it back into a vector 4. Maybe it's not worth it to do this. Let's just do this. Okay. Okay. So this is just tracking what were the last points. Oh, right. Okay. So this is actually fine. There's a couple different ways you can do this kind of a thing. And here I'm just tracking the last position versus the current one, right? And we're using that to draw a strip. Okay, so that's great. Let's just comment all this out for now. Okay. Hey, it compiles. Except that's probably because we don't even call this function. Yep. Okay. Well, I messed that up. That's because this is a vector 3. That was the whole point. Hey, now it compiles. Okay. So we don't have a main function for the widget yet. Okay. Here we go. So here, this is our top level function for color picker. And we're just going to, again, pasta it and delete most of it. So the convention is the function is just named the same thing as the widget. It's just all lowercase. Okay. This kind of doesn't make sense. This all makes sense. Here, applied, We're just going to return the state for now. Like when you have a button or whatever, right, returning a bool because you press the button makes sense. In something like this, it's like, I don't know. So let's look for the return statement because we just literally, yeah, I'm just going to return state. Okay. Okay. I'm going to leave this for a second because the way this widget was structured, there's sort of, this is a top level function. It calls one of these functions and then these draw the actual sliders, and it'll help us with our pasta quest if I just remind myself what functions to look at there. This is like coloring buttons different ways. This is the stashed colors, which is not a thing in this widget. Okay. Okay, so we're going to pasta this. Actually, let's do this one. This is simpler. So I'm just going to drop that in there for a second. And we're going to say draw the color picking, I don't know what to call it. Draw color adjustment. Because there's going to be other things that we draw. There's going to be some settings widgets and some various ways to determine what happens. So probably shouldn't be called circle area anymore. Okay, color adjustment. Okay. So changed is my color slider. Now we have these like nonsense input colors and whatever that we don't want. Yeah, okay. Let's just get rid of that. Yeah, this, what do we call this? Dragging in strip. Okay. Color picker state. Did I not? Oh, we need, okay. Um, okay. We need here, where is that? We need to add a default theme for this thing. Oh, it's in the module. All right. Oh, no, it's not. It's in system themes. That makes sense. Okay. What a big text. All right. Yes, I did think we just don't need that. Like we posted some code, so there's a bunch of variables being computed that we don't even need. What is this left to? I must have deleted that. '93 value pip t. Okay, so this is for just dragging in selection, which we're going to want, but it's going to want to be different. So in these sliders that we're adapting from, there's just sort of one point, right, that you drag it around. You're selecting where in the color range is the value that you want. But what we're going to want is a different thing. You're going to be adding little color you're going to be having many of those things, right? Because the whole point is you add more sort of waypoints in the interpolation and you can go and click on them and stuff. So, yeah. All right. Well, so we're just going to add this to the example program. And we're going to have a window. So we're just going to call this function here, color animation editor, with that rectangle, with the theme, and that's it. Well, we need to, okay. Because these are individual sub windows that we could drag around. We give ourselves little procs for those. Okay. All right, well, here's our color animation widget. Isn't it amazing? Okay. So it's got a vertical rectangle. The RGB color is always 0 because why are we clicking through this? That's going to be a bug that we have to look at. It's not being correctly masked off. Dang it, bro. Yeah, I can even type into it. What is going on? Okay. So let's actually start. Like I said, I think I'm going to want this window to be like more horizontal, but we could even do that later because we've got a color strip on the screen, right? And now what we would like to do is make the function actually, no, you know what? Let's do it the other way. Because what I would do, my personal inclination right now is just to make the function that fills out the colors. But I'm streaming to people who like glance at things and make very well-informed decisions about what's going on based on what they glance at, right? And so, does it go through this? Yeah, what the hell, dude? So we have to look at that. So let's actually do a little bit of work where we put the rectangle in the right place. Here's what I'm thinking about this widget generally, is that, so you want to pick a color. Well, it's a little bit weird because I think sometimes you just want a strip like this, right? But maybe sometimes you want a circle because if you want a cyclic color animation, maybe you want to look at it this way and not be broken up. So, we might have like a mode toggle that makes the area where we draw this bigger or smaller, right? I don't know. So here's the aspect ratio of what we're doing. I'm just going to make it different. Okay, now we're extra sad. Let's all right. So I want to change this now. Let's just transpose this window or this bar so it's horizontal. There's lots of weird stuff about this. Probably we shouldn't be scaling the border and the curvature with the window size. Those are things we could tweak later. Okay. Well, I feel like maybe this part is fine. So when we do color adjustment and we do this stuff here, we're just not going to have a left margin. Well, let's say 0. We'll remember the fact that we did that. So this is all just like clamping to integer coordinates for best results, which, I don't know, probably doesn't matter in this case, but okay. So here, now we're just sort of on the left. Now we will make it, instead of W divided by 7, it's just going to be W. All right? Oh, I messed something up. Don't need that variable. Don't even need this left margin. Okay, let's just look at the code. Let's just do this. I kind of don't know what I did wrong. My brain is not really awake. It looks like the Y values are obviously way off. The width and the height are fine. Why are the Y values way off? Is this area that we're passing messed up? I believe it is. Yeah. So why are we messing that up? Oh, because, okay. All this computation that we were doing for this circle area thing is for a different aspect ratio. So it's like coming out off the bottom of the window. Let's just do this. Let's just do this. Okay, now we've got our bar down there. So we're just going to move it up. Say top margin is W times 0.01. I don't know. Okay. So that looks reasonable. Yay. Okay. So now, like I said, we're going to want a two-pass thing. First, where we fill out the colors. Pass 1, fill out the colors. Pass 2, draw the colors. Okay. So, filling out the colors. This is going to get factored into another function, I could basically guarantee. But, okay, here's what we need, is we need a new thing to represent our color indicator dudes, right? We need color indicator dudes. Let's call it color keyframe. Color keyframe is going to be a struct, and we're going to have some position, right? And we're going to have well, a color. We're going to have maybe that's it. For now. And part of the whole point of this widget is that you can make these and move them around. But for now, we're just going to make some. Okay. So these should be on the state struct. Because you know you want to be able to instantiate more than one of these and stuff. Okay, so we're initializing the color keyframes. We're just going to say all right. We're just going to have 3 of them. Actually, because we're going to want to test, because we're going to sort these, so we're going to do them out of order even. What are some colors? I don't know, kind of red and a little bit blue and barely any green. Okay. But we're going to have a 0.5, 0.6 that's maybe a lot more red and a lot of blue, like that. And then we're going to have a 0.95 that's like 9.9. What's a color, guys? Like something that's very green. This is going to be horrible, especially because we're going to be interpolating RGB. Doesn't matter. All right, so cool. Sort the keyframes from lowest to highest. The reason we're going to sort them is because, you know, we're iterating over this array from left to right, and the array represents spatially where we are in the bar from left to right. And what you want to do is say, hey man, where are we in this range of colors? And you know, you want to maintain like a cursor of where you are in this list of colors so that you know which colors to interpolate between as you go, basically. Okay, so we're going to sort, and this is easy, right? Import sort, and we're going to go quick sort color keyframes and x to x.t. So we're just sorting by t, right? Easy clap. Now, I mean, I think yeah. So this gives us a value from 0 to 1, which is how far along the array are we? All right. And, well, we can compare this. Okay. Color cursor is going to be 0, right? If there are no keyframes, well, let's just assert that there are keyframes. All right. What did Emacs just do? Debugger entered Lisp error, unbalanced. How is it a Lisp error? Bro, what? Richard Dawkins, why is your Emacs program not good? Okay, so now it's just not indenting correctly at all. All right. So we learned about Lisp errors today, if nothing else. Okay, so we're iterating over, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a very stupid, we're not even going to interpolate yet. Not even going to interpolate. We're going to say okay, so we get the RGB, and we're going to put that into our color samples. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to go if T is greater than color samples sub, no, color keyframes, color cursor dot T. So if we have passed a keyframe, then we're going to say, okay, and wait. Yeah, this is just going to be who are we to the left of, all right? But we're also going to say maybe that's not, maybe it should be to the right of, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so we want to make sure we don't go off the end of the array. Color keyframes count -1. All right. Okay. Oh, yeah, we don't implicitly cast a bool here. In fact, we'll assert greater than 0 because it is what it is. Incompatible structs want a sample color. color samples sub I dot RGB. Okay. Yes, okay. So you'll note that our color samples are going from top to bottom, and that's because even though I adjusted the coordinates of the array, or of the strip, it is still being a strip. Let's just also draw this real big for now, every time we start this. But like this strip, it's going the wrong way. All right, so yeah, that's in, let's make this real big. Whoops. That's not going to be big enough, right? We want double that size. This K is just some random unit that I made up for this. Okay, that's great. That's great. We'll even move it left a little bit, right? Hey, wonderful. Okay, this is very ugly. Let's fix that. Let's fix that. So when we draw the color strip, so here, this t times rect dot h, this is the thing that moves us along as we take each sample, right? Because t goes from 0 to 1 again. So here, I don't know why. See, I put no space here and yes space here. Okay, so this is times, basically, we want these to be in the same place horizontally in each step, and then this to be like that, the bottom and the top. Ta-da! Okay. Let's make more samples. $500. Oh my God, is our computer fast enough to do 500? You see, these transitions are sharper. Okay, now we add interpolation. So like I said, all we're doing is we're switching what color we are based on, you know, when we pass it, right? We're not interpolating. Now, actually, this looks a little bit wrong to me. The reason it looks a little bit wrong is because I had like something at t.9, right? This green. Oh, because it's what we're to the left of. Got it. Got it. Okay. Maybe I'd rather have it be to the right of, because then 0 we're not to the right of anyone. How would we change that? So wait. No, this is right. What? Okay. So we don't want to advance further to the right if we're at the end. So wait, no. This doesn't make sense because here 0 means we're to the right of index 0, which we may not be. But that could just be -1, right? Yeah, I think we'll do it this way. Okay. Now, if we're not at the end, right? We look at the next guy. Actually, no, we just want, no, we look at the next guy, right? We don't need this anymore. Okay, so now down here, we're saying the number could be -1. Right, so if color, okay, so RGB is a vector 3. If color cursor is less than 0, else. We don't love that branch, but whatever, we'll deal with it later. We're going to have multiple, because you might want the colors to wrap around. You might want them, we're just doing end pointing right now, right? You could do this simple operation in a branch-free way if you wanted to. It's not hard. Okay. I probably messed that up. Color. Okay. This makes sense to me. This is the distribution of colors that we put. So now we want to interpolate. And what we're going to do, like I said, for now we're end pointing. So if we're off either end, we're just going to pick that color. Otherwise, yeah, so here we're already doing that, right? Else if color cursor is greater than or equal to color keyframes.count -1. So we're just taking the endpoints here. And again, that's something we'll switch off later if we don't want that behavior. But now if we're in the middle, we are between two colors interpolate. Hey, look, another bus. Or is that a truck? I don't know what that is. Okay. We are between two colors interpolate. So what is the first color? Color 0 is color keyframes sub color cursor dot color RGB, right? And then +1. And we're going to say S denom. We want to avoid dividing by 0, so denom is C1 dot T minus C0 dot T. Remember, T is just where in this strip these guys are, normalized to 0 to 1. Okay. So S will go from 0 to 1, and then we're going to go lerp C0 C1S. Oops. Let's call these K for keyframes. Okay. Hey. That's great. So the next step would be something like letting you drag these things around and whatever. Honestly, I've been feeling kind of slow this entire stream. I'm not feeling like the hyped and full of energy to dive into it like I often do on a weekend project. So, like I said, I might want to just go out in the sun today, and we might pick this up later. But any questions about what we did so far? Any questions? Can you try with just two colors, O.1 and O.9? All right, well, that just means commenting out that one color. It's kind of hard to tell where, where it transitions over to being a solid color. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's right. If it's not right, that will come to light as we continue to work on it. So, you know, we had this little thing here, which was like, we can at least put this in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say for what are they called? Keyframes. 4 color keyframes. Draw color keyframe. Let's just do this. All right. Actually, that function is going to need some more information. Let's just do this. We're going to need the rectangle and the theme and the state. So, oops. I didn't want those there. I wanted those there. And we want to know, actually, we probably can draw these over the color strip, which means draw them after. What is the rect that we pass in here? Yeah. So this is just the rect for the slider area. Okay, so cool. So, we're going to say T is just that. I don't know what this dx dy. What is going on there? Oh, these are scales for... Anyway, this, so for now, you can't drag these yet. All right. Because we're going to want to change in the old function. These were just like pointers that you passed in. And in the new one, these are probably state variables on the actual dudes. Okay. 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 I made that typo and fixed it, and then I immediately made the same typo again. All right. These are things that we were saving. Oh, God. Okay, well, these are pointing in strange directions, and they are very large because, again, we swapped our dimensions. We swapped our dimensions. So, it's this thing. Okay, those are tiny. That's fine. And they're pointing the wrong way. Oh, because, right, they're pointing the wrong way because, again, they were intended for horizontal frickin' things. So this part down here, let's look at this. So we have PA is the point on the rectangle. I see. Yeah. So we just want to like do this. We'll fix one, but not the other yet. So this is going to be minus, and then this is 0, and this is minus dy. Something like that. Hey, look at that. Now, that said, these are not as cool. Like, see here we have these Coolio guys, except this guy is made for a circle, but like we're gonna want to draw some information. Like you could imagine these, something like this sliding left and right along the bar, and then down here maybe is a little swatch with the actual color. Maybe not. Maybe that's redundant with just seeing the bar. Anyway. Okay, so this is like where the things are. Okay. Now, when you click, well, okay, before you click, we want to know, is your cursor over the thing? Because we want it to like light up and respond. These almost could be button themes. I don't quite want to do that because there's a little bit too much stuff on button theme. But maybe because you want a color when you're over it and then a color when you click it. Actually, what? So here we could see what we did for this guy because I like this guy. See that? See that guy? He's our buddy. And let's actually these actually work the same way. This is just the code that we copied, I think. Yeah. So this is actually fine. Okay. So we're going to iterate. You could have two of these keyframes very close to each other, right? And so if you imagine there's some, some region in which you consider it active, you still want to be able to pick the closest one, right? And you only want to draw one of them as highlight at the time. All right, so find closest keyframe to mouse pointer. Okay, let's start putting stuff down here. So the one that the user's mouse pointer is over. Actually dragging T. We'll do active T also. So we have active T, we have dragging T, and we're going to just compute the position once. I'm just trying to think about this for a second. Do I want to store a full vector or just like an individual float or something here? It is a question. It is a question. Um, it's just, if I don't know, let's just go X. X position in screen coordinates for this frame. Okay, so in update keyframes, our job is just to set these things and update them. And, you know, we're going to want to do a little bit this drawing loop. So here we're going to update all the keyframes at once, but here we're going to draw them individually. And the reason is you don't actually want to draw them in order because you want to draw the active one last so it goes on top of anybody else, right? So here we go. So actually, you know, we could pass these because those are probably going to have colors that we want in them and stuff. Anyway, so for find the closest keyframe to the mouse pointer, all right? Okay. Actually, we'll do this. After we find the best keyframe index, we're going to say if also, this is only if we're not dragging, but we don't have dragging yet. So it's fine. So for all the keyframes, if the index is the best keyframe index, then key.active is true, else well, okay, and then oops, we're going to do a third frickin' loop. Okay. Actually, no, we can do this in here. That's fine. So here we're going to say best distance is float 32 infinity. And we're going to say dist is abs of x I don't remember what the mouse x variable is, but if dist is less than best distance, best is a very common pattern. Do it all the time in games. Best keyframe index is it index. Okay. So x, we said, was going to be t, right? And then key.pos x is x. Yeah. So this is fine. Except we are not this is finding the, this is okay for now. It's finding the absolute closest one, but you could still be quite far away from it, right? So we're going to want to add some distance, some selection distance, right? But for now, it's fine. Okay. Now what? Now what do we do now? Well, we got to call this function, or it's not going to do anything, right? And we got to actually not middle. We don't want to pass middle. We want to pass the bar, this rect here. Okay. Now about this mouse X situation. Mouse X float. Okay, well, in theory it's computing this, but we can't tell. So now we will just change the color based on so we have move toward, right? My favorite function. Yes. Okay. So what this is meant to be something to visualize this variable over time, right? So active T is moved toward, actually we'll just do this. Key.active T target. Do we not have the good fucking move toward? And what's the DT? I forgot how this works. Cosmetic D. Who does this? Cosmetic DT. It's in active widgets. All right, let's just see. We don't have the good move toward, do we? Asshole. By which I mean me. I'm just going to copy pasta the good move toward. I know I put it somewhere. Yeah. This is the one that we actually want. Usually. Okay, move toward. Okay, so we're still not using this. So we can't tell if that's working or not. How do we tell? Well, down here, we're going to want to put this on a theme. Right? Active, and then what is the, how active is it? And that gives us the color. Okay. Yeah, well, okay. So the rate is very slow, but you can see that we're picking the right thing. These triangles are way too big as well. Okay. Let's make that a lot faster. Okay. Are we going to get those nice triangles that grow when selected? Yeah, I think so. We just don't have actual selection yet. Right? So next, okay, we'll see first. First, we need to actually make it so that you don't select if you're off the thing. Like if, yeah. These also are still pretty slow. I'm not sure this DT is correct, if I'm being honest, because these rates seem quite high. But, okay, so here's the thing. We want to have a variable that determines what's the width of this dude when you're going to click on him, so that you count as being on or off, right? However, you don't want that to be unrelated to the triangle size, because like if the triangle size is really different from that width, then it's kind of misleading, right? So we're going to have on the theme, let's actually do this. We actually want these, I think, to be grayscale colors because like when you're trying to actually judge colors on a color strip, it's actually annoying to have other tints coming in from controls and stuff. So I think it's best if these are grayscale. So the colors are going to be kind of boring, but we'll put them on the theme. Theme dot keyframe, what do we call it? Let's just call it keyframe color inactive. All right, and we're just going to put those on the theme. And we might want to draw, you know, backing triangles for this or something. We didn't end up wanting to do that for the other widgets. Maybe we won't want it here, depending on how busy things are on the screen and stuff. Let's make this a little darker. Okay. Dude. Okay. Okay, so now this width that we're using here, no, not there. Yeah, here. Keyframe width relative to bar height. That's a weird, we can change this later if we want to. Okay, the point being now though, we can use this. Okay. Wait. Is that really how big that is? No, because we put the 0.5. Yeah. We actually have 0.5 down here. I forgot that. Okay, so. Yeah. Great. Now, we're going to use this variable. And we're going to, when we get that best distance, dist max is going to be this times rec.h, all right? Okay, there we go. So now, only if we're within the bar area. Now, see, we actually, I think we want more forgiveness on that. I don't know. I want it a little bit wider. And we'll make that a variable. Theme.keyframe selection size relative to visual size. All right. Okay, so now we would like to be able to click on stuff. Now, if we click on stuff, first of all, we need to know that we are clicking on things. We're going to have, oh, you know what? Because this should be on the state, but this other thing should be on the state as well. So let's do this. Put that and that and that and that and that. And really wouldn't have minded doing this earlier. You know, it would be nice to have an alias for this. Jesus. Okay. Cool. Well, we're about to do this, so yeah. Okay. On this state struct, we're going to say, are we dragging? Oh, we have dragging. I don't think we want this dragging in strip T. I think we want dragging keyframe index. Okay, so now when we press the mouse button, we're just going to set this, and when we release the mouse button, we're going to release it. And, well, some of this stuff that we just did, only do this if we are not dragging. All right, so if all right, we're actually going to break this out. So we're going to go if not dragging in strip, then we do all this stuff. Okay. And then well, we need to make a way to do this. Let's go back to the color picker for a second. Oh yeah, okay. I'm trying to remember how I do things in GetRect, right? So we status flags. Yeah. So the status flags that we're already getting, well, that we're not, here we go. Wait, what? What is going on? Oh, dang. I see. Okay, I thought we had removed these parameters so they weren't being passed. They are actually being passed. I don't think we want these. Again, this assumes well, okay. Let's just get rid of these. They're on the state. We should always do this part. We're doing things a little bit wrong in that we're updating the keyframe positions. Move this to before render. You should always do your input update before render, otherwise you're kind of adding a frame of latency. But for now, let's just, okay. Now that we have updated positions, and actually this can go in here. Okay. What did we call it? Dragging keyframe index equals. Oh, and we want to also say if we have a best guy. There. Okay. Now, okay. I've made several horrible mistakes here, guys. They're not that bad. But see, we're about to start dragging these around. And I'm using the index of the keyframe to say which one we're dragging. But we're sorting it every frame. So that index is going to change in a way that we don't like. So we're actually, it's fine. We just need to not sort the actual keyframes, which is fine. Hey, look, there's a yelling homeless dude outside. That's great. All it takes is one guy in your town. That's all it takes. Didn't I move from San Francisco? You have to understand the entire United States is in a process of decline. Okay. San Francisco is just really far ahead of everyone else. And also Portland. Okay. I'm just going to leave this empty for a second. Actually, no, let's just finish this. All we're doing here we're going to call this active target because now, and then I'm going to say move toward again, but this one's for dragging. Dragging target. Just we'll use the same timers on it. And okay, so let's just make sure that compiles. Probably doesn't. Yeah. Okay. I see. So we do, while we're here, we had to comment this out because it doesn't make sense anymore, but we actually do want to do this because right now we added a way to start dragging. We don't have a way to stop dragging. So if we're dragging and it's not down, we just stop. Okay, cool. Now, like I said, this sorting is no good. So we're going to do this. Allocator is temp for do we actually, I don't know. So there we sort a copy of the array. Okay. So now we took pointers when we made the array. So there we go. All right, so I'm dragging because I'm holding down the button. See how it doesn't highlight this even though I'm over it? And I let go of the button. Boom. 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 So now we just have to update dudes when we're dragging. Okay. And we're going to do this at the end of the frame again. The reason, actually no, we should do it at the beginning. Okay. So here where we update keyframes, update and color. It's hard to talk about because this is the color animation editor, but animating parameters for the keyframe widget. Keyframe thingies. I don't know. Okay, so Okay, if we're dragging, I'm getting hungry. Okay. So what we want to say target T is going to be mouse X minus minus rect.x divided by rect.w. We're going to clamp that from 0 to 1. Okay. Now, we're going to update my pup date. We're going to say key is state.color keyframes index. Key.t is target t. Key.x is okay. So here, this can go here, right? Oh, actually, no. We almost made a noob mistake. Latency, so don't combine this with the above if. Thank you for knowing how to program. Now, key X, it's called pause X or something, pause X. Okay. Hey everybody. It's almost like you could edit colors now. How do you like them apples? Now, we're rejecting clicks if it's outside this, but I think we're going to want to add some padding and stuff. I don't know. It's fine for now. Yeah, the second argument to quicksort is the comparison function. Yes. This is a pretty good pausing point for the first stream, I think. We have a little editor. There's going to be, yeah, the RGB lerp, we're going to make that better. Don't worry about that. We will provide it as an option, but the default will be a better color space. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff we're going to want to do, right? You need to be able to add and delete keyframes. You need to be able to change the colors, right? All sorts of little things like that. Yeah, it doesn't respond if you click outside the rectangle right now. This is a little bit not great. Yeah, so like I said, we'll see if I'm in the mood to power through this weekend and do a bunch of stuff. If not, I mean, it could extend to next weekend project. We'll see. But I like the idea of cranking on it, but I also need to get some food and some sunlight now. So we'll probably do at least one more update on this today. Maybe we'll do 3 more. Who knows? Who knows? All right, this has been part 1 of the weekend project. Thanks for coming by. We'll be back later on with more whatever this is. See you, everyone.